Welcome back. This is Alondra Chapman, and I am joined today by a special guest who I know from competing and judging. So, welcome, Gabriele.
Hi, Alondra. Thank you
Hi
so much.
there. Good to see you.
Same. It is so good to see you.
Now, give a little introduction about yourself and who you are.
Hi, everybody. My name is Gabriele Pacheco. I am a PMBA wellness competitor. I had my first season in the 2023 year. Came in, I did both the bikini and the wellness division just to see where I fit better and my physique fit better in the wellness category. I am now going into season 2. I'm originally from Chicago. I live out in California, and I moved out here to pretty much pursue the health and fitness industry, and it has been a journey, and it's going well. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, awesome. Now, I did not know you were originally from Chicago.
I
Now, when,
am.
when did you come to California?
I moved here. It will be 3 years in September. I actually lived in Vegas for three.
Okay.
Um, so I left Chicago in 2018, pursuing to come out to California. It didn't happen. So I did a lateral move at the time with my previous job to Vegas. I was there for 3 years. Pandemic happened, got laid off, lease came to term, and it was just the perfect opportunity to move out here. And so I ended up in the Inland Empire, which is where I'm at. It's about, 45 minutes from LA, but
Mhm.
that's how I got out here. Is I really wanted to pursue the health and wellness industry, and just Chicago really is not the place with how cold it is, and it's
Mm.
gloomy majority of the year. So I've always had the passion to live out here. So we made
Okay.
it.
Yay. Now, when you came out, you were actually looking to get into personal training or
Yeah, it's Pilates. So the modality that I
okay.
teach, it's called Inferno Hot Pilates. So it's mat Pilates, traditional, but I do spin, indoor cycling. But the pursuit to move out here is to have my own studio one day. And so
Okay.
that is really the goal, to be able to have a spin room, a Pilates room, a group fitness room, because I really want to be able to create a space where people that might be in the back of the room, like myself, where I started, I would kind of hide in the corner. I really want to be able to provide a space for people to kind of come out of their shell, feel comfortable, feel confident, and kind of just step into a version of themselves that they kind of always doubted, but it's always been there. So that is really why I came out here. And then I met my now coach, and that's pretty much how I got into bodybuilding, which I would have never imagined. So, but I love it.
Yeah, so that was actually gonna be my next question. How did you get into bodybuilding? Because that's a very different environment when it comes to fitness than Pilates and cycling.
Yeah. Honestly, I would have never imagined that this would be something that I would get into. At the time that I started the conversation with my coach, I was really looking to get back into a sport. I played sports growing up, played hockey, ran track. And so, as much as I love Pilates and as much as I love spin, I really wanted something that had like that competitive edge to it. And
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. And so I went to a boxing class one day, and I just posted a picture after the class. And my now coach, Stephen Crawford, is the individual that responded to it. He's like, you're maybe 7, 8 weeks out from a show, you should consider, doing it. And he actually sent me the schedule. He's like, think about it. And so I looked into it, and I kind of went onto the natural bodybuilding website and just looked around. And I was like, you know what? I always said I would want to do a show. I never really knew when or if I really would. And so I was like, you know what, let's do it. So I pretty much just pulled the trigger. And then um, along the prep, I really fell in love with just that process.
Mhm.
I do well and thrive off of a structure, and
Mhm.
I've learned that is really what bodybuilding is you're training at a certain time, you're eating at a certain time. And I loved it. The people that are currently competing on our team, meeting other different people and going to different places that I kind of wouldn't have imagined going. Like this year, we're looking to go to the Oklahoma show. So I was like,
Okay.
let's do it. And so I would have not imagined it would have been bodybuilding, but it's been fun. So it all started from that photo and from my coach actually, lighting the fire and saying, "Hey, let's give it a go." So
Now, what was that first show?
the first show was the Bakersfield show. I want to say
Okay.
it was July 7th of last year.
So that's where
And
I saw you.
yeah, I think that was the very
Yeah.
first time that you and I
Okay.
met. And
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I was so nervous, and a lot of people don't know this, that was probably the first time I had ever been in a bikini.
Oh,
I
really?
Yeah, I've never been a fan of bikinis or shorts by any means. I've always had a love-hate relationship with just my legs, because
Mm.
growing up, I've always kind of been like the taller girl or the bigger girl, and never learned to embrace the muscles in my legs. And so this industry has also taught me like that self-love of my body and of my
Mhm.
physique. But that was the first time. So getting into that bikini and stepping on the stage like that was beyond my comfort zone.
That always breaks all the barriers. For
Yeah,
most of the ladies that I've, coached over the years, it's the first show and first, presentation of your body on the stage where it just kind of breaks all the barriers. And then you're good after that.
right. But I feel like even when I did the next show, I was still like, I don't know. It still gets me. And even trying on my bikinis, doing posing, I'm like, this is like, I have so much new respect for people that have been in this for so long, like such as yourself, and that really it's a grind and you coach
It
other
is.
individuals. But it is fun. And I really say that this is probably, out of all the sports, it's probably the most rewarding from my experience, completely
Mhm.
my opinion, but
Mm.
it's been fun. And I'm enjoying it.
Well, good. Now, you said Oklahoma, and that's coming up when?
That one will be August 11th
Okay.
in Tulsa, Oklahoma. But we're
Okay.
also considering doing the Ironman, so July
Okay.
27th out in El Segundo. So we're thinking about doing that one. And now it's pretty much like getting into the really putting our foot on that gas.
Now, besides the Pilates and cycling, are there any other sports or hobbies that you're into right now?
Um,
Probably not. There's a lot of time with bodybuilding and working, but
yeah.
any other
Honestly,
hobbies that you have time for?
I really enjoy painting.
Oh,
I
interesting.
so I do paint occasionally, like on the weekends, because it just allows me to stimulate a different part of my brain.
Mhm.
And I like doing things with my hands. So painting has been something that I've really gotten into. Trying different recipes. I know I can't really eat the food, but I love to cook. So, trying different things in the kitchen, anything with my hands is something that I usually will take on, but painting has been something right now.
Nice. And you can't do the paint and sip. Can't do
Right,
that.
exactly. I can sip some water, but that's about it.
Right. Now, what's a fun fact about you that people that follow you wouldn't really know?
I would say people don't know that I used to play hockey for 10 years.
Yeah,
So
that one I was gonna ask about the hockey. Now, what got you into hockey? I mean, I know Chicago being cold, that's probably put you on the ice, but I wouldn't have pegged you for somebody that plays hockey.
same. It was my father's idea actually. So I was a cheerleader,
Okay.
and
And
I
that's
did
very different from hockey.
yeah, very different. So I was a cheerleader for a season, and my father's coworker's daughter was actually currently playing hockey, and he was like, "You know what? My daughter's been saying she really wanted to get in something different. She's currently cheerleading. She didn't really like it." So I went to a game and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll try it." And mind you, I was in the second grade. So I'm like, "Oh yeah, sure, Dad, let's do it." And so he signed me up for the next season, and I fell in love with it. I was like, this was my
That's
jam,
hilarious.
like, skating around, hitting it, like it had that aggression to it. Because I've always kind of been like a tomboy growing up. And so it was just like the perfect match for me. And I played it all the way through high school. I didn't play in
Wow.
college, but I absolutely love playing hockey.
Now, do you still play?
I don't. I haven't been on the
Okay.
ice in, oh my goodness, probably 5, 6 years. It's been a while.
Okay. Okay. Now, you said you like to cook. Do you do your own meal prep?
I do as of right now, but I am sponsored by Mega Fit Meals. So they will be the ones taking care of my meals going closer into the show as we start traveling. So, but right now I do.
Nice, nice. It's always so nice to have someone else to cook for you.
Oh, yeah. It's nice when it's
Time
just sitting.
saver, but just it's there's something about just having those meals ready. I mean, of course, when you make your own, you make it the way you like it, but so nice to have somebody else do that for you.
I agree. I definitely agree. Lots of extra time on a Sunday, I'll tell you that.
Now, what's your favorite cheat meal?
Okay, this is gonna sound very odd, but I love me a salad with French fries.
Okay. No, you
Yeah,
know what? Honestly, I would do that.
yeah.
I would
I
do
just
that.
it's something about a salad. Like I love like the fruit salads where it has like blueberries, strawberries, maybe some cranberries in it. I love French fries, and then I would probably also say either like a Chick-fil-A sandwich, and I absolutely love chocolate chip cookies. So that's probably my jam after a show.
A well-rounded cheat meal.
Right. Got a little bit
All
of
the
carbs.
major food groups.
Right.
Now, how many shows are you looking at doing this coming season?
This year, I am gonna do 3. I
Okay.
really liked the 3 last year, and I really liked doing it on the back end of the year, so I
Mm,
do plan to do that again this year. I almost, was teetering the fence of only doing 2, but after having a good conversation with my coach, I wanna be able to have time, make critiques if need be,
sure.
so I don't want to take the risk of only having one, show right before the Olympia because that's the goal to compete again on that stage.
Mhm.
So we're gonna stick with 3.
Now, of course, having won last year, that leads you right into being able to walk onto the Olympia stage with no competitions leading up to it.
Right.
I know for myself, I've done it a couple different ways. I went straight to Olympia with no other shows that year. Actually was nice because
Mhm.
only having 1 peak week is really nice in a year's
Right.
time. And then
Yeah.
I did the complete opposite and had done, like, 4 shows prior to
Wow.
one Olympia, and that was tough. That was tough, just having to snap back and get right back to it several times, and this was all pretty much from June through November, so, yeah, I know how that can be as well. So,
Wow.
I for me personally, I like having some time, like you said, to take critiques and actually work on them. It's kinda
Yeah.
hard in the same season if you got shows kinda close together, but getting judges' feedback and then actually being able to work on that is the best.
Yeah. Right. I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
What feedback did you get after the, last Natural Olympia showing?
more conditioning in my legs, come in
Mhm.
tighter. um, come in with more quads, more of my glute and hamstring tie-in. So that's really going to be a focus as well as my lower portion of my core. So those are really the focuses for us this year.
Okay, awesome. So talk about that win, though. Let's talk about that. How was
Man,
that for you?
oh my gosh. It was so emotional for me because I almost did not do the show.
Mm,
Um, I last year was a very tough year for me emotionally, mentally. There was just so many things going on in my personal world, and it got to a point where I almost felt like I just couldn't do it. Obviously, we're getting into the point where we're cutting and training's being pushed even further, and I just am so grateful for the team that competed that show, my coach, and just the people I had around me during that time to really remind me how far we've come, how much work we've put in, to even get to that show to kind of just, walk away. But getting on that stage and experiencing it, seeing the conditioning of the other girls and just the beauty of who they are as human beings, for me, it was so much fun. And then just winning, it was just kind of like, wow. Because
right.
I really had counted myself out. I'm like, there's no way, like, I'm a rookie to this. I have no idea what I'm doing. But I had a really good encouraging conversation to where, like, just trust in your training, trust in your conditioning, trust into everything that you've put into this point, and just, be you on that stage. And I think that was probably what I needed to hear that day leading up to that show. And it just was like very surreal. I don't think it actually hit me until maybe like a month later. So,
Mm.
yeah, but it was very surreal. It was very emotional for me, though.
Now, I remember you guys coming to me after that Bakersfield show and asking, "Okay, so bikini or wellness?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"No, no, no. No bikini. That's
Yeah.
not your category. You absolutely
I
are
wanted
wellness."
bikini so bad.
Now, you showed well in both categories at that show, but I'm like, "If you wanna win,
Yeah.
go wellness all the way," and that was
Yeah.
definitely where you belong, so awesome to see the end result of that.
And thank you for that advice and that critique too, because I was willing to condition down to bikini. So I think I
Wow,
appreciate
that
you
was
taking the
all
time.
you.
I appreciate that, really.
Definitely wellness, definitely.
Thank you.
Now, when it comes to bikini versus wellness, I know, the presentation of that is very similar, but
Mhm.
had you done any, like, soul searching before, and did you like one versus the other? Because it's very similar, like I said, in terms of how you present, little different because you're definitely trying to show your leg development in
Mhm.
wellness, but, I know I kinda ask everybody when they first come to me saying they wanna compete, like, "What do you wanna do? What category do you wanna do?" Did you have any preference, or are you just ready for anything?
I wanted bikini. My coach and my trainer were like, "You are not built for bikini." They were very transparent, and I did have to have a conversation with myself to where, like, you do need to embrace what you have been gifted with, and there's
Mhm.
clearly a category for women like you. And
Yep.
so I had to kind of just, be a student at that point, because I'm so used to, being the instructor, being the leader. I had to really just kind of zip it and, let people that do this tell me what needs to be done. And it was a good call, and I'm glad that I listened.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because wellness, especially in the INBA league, is very new still, right? It's been just 2 years at the Natural Olympia that they've had this category available, but,
Right.
it's definitely still growing in terms of, I think, people understanding what is being expected on the stage. I still am explaining, "No, you still have to be very conditioned, you still have to have, the separation in the muscles, and you have to be able to show that leanness and that conditioning. It's not just you're bigger." And I
Right.
still hear
Yeah.
that sometimes, and people are definitely getting there, but it's still a work in progress to get people to understand what it is that the judges are actually looking for. So,
Right.
um, but you had it last November, so, I was like, "Hey, show them what you got, girl. I love it. Show them what you
I
got."
I appreciate that. I'm excited for this year. I can only imagine what's gonna be on that stage this year, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me is being a trailblazer when it comes to, especially at that level, because you've got people coming from all over the world. Um, Again, wellness is still a little bit new. I've had several conversations with people in Australia and New Zealand about what it is that wellness should be. And there was still a little confusion. Just kind of in all of the categories. I think the league probably needs to do a little bit of a better job showing exactly what these winners look like
Yeah.
at different shows all throughout the year so people really
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
But it's for you and for Tay being the winners the first 2 years,
Yeah.
it definitely is setting a precedent so that
Right.
people do understand this is the look, and yes, bring that conditioning, bring that beautiful muscle and show it, like, really
Right.
show it. So,
Right.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you
No,
did a great job. You definitely did a great job.
thank you.
What was the hardest part of getting to the stage, probably the first show because that's your first time doing it, but then as you're getting through more and more of these peak weeks and preps, what's the hardest thing for you to actually get to the stage?
That's a really good question. I would say I would say having to miss out on a lot, friends and family. Um, it's people not really understanding or maybe poking fun or the jokes of you bringing your meal prep to a dinner.
Right.
Um, I think that was probably the hardest was I can't, I have to train or I can't, I have to meal prep. And, not necessarily having people that fully understand what it takes to step on the stage. Because to your point, it's not about just you're bigger, you're still stepping on stage conditioned and
Right.
showing the definition and things like that. So there's things that still go into it. So I think that was really hard because I felt like I had to choose, and I'm the type of person I don't want to have to choose. I want to do it all, but I think that was probably the hardest.
That's definitely something to consider.
Mhm.
I think a lot of people love the idea of getting on the stage and
Right.
being out there and flaunting it and showing
Yeah.
off, but
Mhm.
there's a lot of work and discipline and dedication and commitment, and the social life has to be put to the back burner for a while, and yes, you're bringing meal prep to everything you're going to, and yeah, things are a little bit different. I've talked to so many people that were surprised by either the support they did or didn't have by those who were closest to them, so
Yes, that
that's
part.
something to consider.
Yes.
I've seen it all. I've seen it all. I've been coaching athletes for about 15 years, and I've definitely seen it all when it comes to family and spouses and, how they support or don't, and it's a real thing. It's a real
Yeah.
thing. Now
Yeah,
who is your motivation and support when it gets hard for you?
man, I would say my best friend, Tony back in Chicago, she checks in, she, sends these little encouraging messages. I would say my coach, he'll always send these videos to kind of remind me on those days where I just may not want to do the training. I would say him and definitely my mom.
Oh, sweet.
She is a huge support. She's always like, "Oh, I wish I could do that." And, always, just being being who she is, which has just always been a support and an encouragement, which is helpful because she's not here. She is
Mm.
out in Chicago. So, having that long distance support, is always helpful. But thankfully my coach is here. So he's like family, so it makes it a little bit easier. So I would say those 3. I have a very small, tight knit of friends.
Well, that's all you need. I
Yeah.
mean, really, that is all you need. My husband has been with me pretty much at every show except for Greece and when we went to Prague. So
Oh,
internationally, he hasn't traveled with me, but pretty much every other show he's been there. So, and then all the training too. So
wow, that's
he gets the
awesome.
benefit of the training too, but he
Yeah.
gets to eat whatever he wants, and.
Right. So he gets to watch you eat your prep and he just indulges. I love it. It's good
But
balance.
he's done 2 shows, and I said it's funny because he did a show back in 2014, and then he did another in 2022, and I said,
Mhm.
"So, every 8 years or so, you're gonna get on the stage?" He's like, "Yeah, maybe."
That's awesome.
Now, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Ooh, in the next 5 years, I would love to. I think I want to do 5, 6 years competing. That's one. Then I would love to kind of go on to the back end of things and maybe go into the coaching, support more on the posing side, and then ultimately have my studio, my spin studio in 5 years, within 5 years. So that's the goal.
Nice. I've had a gym. Well, my original gym I opened in '06. Yeah, I had to think. It was a long time ago now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
'06. Um, Ended up closing it during COVID,
Mhm.
2022, actually, in the back end of that, and reopened a new gym last year. So 2 gyms
Oh,
actually last year. So,
congratulations.
yeah, I guess my point here is if you need some help,
Yeah,
I've pretty much done it all when it
I'm gonna
comes to
call
opening gyms.
you.
Yeah. Oh, I literally have done it all. So I've been a business owner for about 18 years. So yeah, girl, it's a whirlwind, but it
That's
is absolutely the best when it comes to helping people. I've seen so many women just empowered by taking control of their health. It's
I
an
love that.
amazing thing. There is no substitute for that. You can't get that
Right,
in corporate. It just is the thing that keeps me going when it comes to being in the business that we're in.
right. No, I
Absolutely.
love that. I'm definitely gonna reach out, pick your brain because you definitely have the knowledge if you've been doing it for a while, so I will.
Yeah, it's been a long time and competing as well. Like I started competing in 2010. My first show, I started training in 2009, and then 2010 I was on stage at the Silver and Black, which is coming up at the 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks
Yeah,
out from Silver and
yeah,
Black. So that's the one that I sponsor each year, and it's it's always crazy fun. I'm always judging. That's fun
yeah,
too. But I somehow always get drawn back into some aspect of competing, either
yeah.
behind the scenes or on stage myself.
That how did
It's
you get
it's
into competing?
My first show, was shortly after one of my girlfriends who I trained with had
Okay,
started competing,
okay.
and then I just was kind of in a circle of a lot of people that were doing, um, figure competitions, and actually back
Mhm.
then figure was fairly new,
Uh-huh.
and, got on stage for the first time 2010. I did 3 shows that year, and
Okay.
then I was absolutely just kinda bit by the bug and just kept going. Uh, 2 I did 2 IMBA shows and got my pro card. Back then, you had to actually win 2 overalls to get a pro card. I did
Mm,
that my first 2 shows, and then I did an NPC show. I did really well, actually. I won my height class, and then I won, um, the masters overall as well at that first, NPC show, and I
that's
just
aw
kept going from there.
that's
I
so
can't even tell you how many shows I've done now, probably close to 20, but
wow.
yeah, it's been fun traveling internationally. Like I said, we went to Prague in 2012. We went to Greece in 2019. That was amazing. Just
Wow.
traveling with Team USA. Competing internationally is always a little sketchy. The judging is different
Yeah.
depending on, where you are, especially in Europe, they judge and they pose a bit differently.
Mhm.
Of course, the rules should be the same.
Yeah,
However, judging
yeah.
is subjective, and,
Right.
overseas, they definitely have a little bit different posing, and even category names are a little bit different sometimes, so, that's something to always consider if you're going overseas, just kinda know what you're getting into.
Okay.
Um, and then with the shows here in the States, I've competed mostly here on the West Coast, Vegas, LA, of course, up here, several shows. I've done a few NPC shows. I've done one in Seattle. That was
Wow.
the Emerald Cup. I've done locally here in the Bay Area, the Governor's Cup in Sacramento, and a few other NPC shows. So I've kind of done a little bit of everything.
That's
Always stuck to figure, but actually, if wellness was around back when I started, I probably
yeah,
would have fit into wellness. I
awesome.
definitely was told several times, "You gotta get your legs down to fit
Mhm.
figure," right? Just, I naturally had those quads and glutes too, but,
Yeah,
um, was not available for us back then. So,
got it,
I
got it.
definitely had to figure out how to win figure. I'm pretty good at it now.
Yeah, now you're in the Hall of Fame, so that's so inspiring, like, that is so inspiring.
Yeah, it's been a good ride. It's definitely been a good ride, and I'm sure I'm not done yet. I have
Right.
to get my bearings around these gyms, and just kinda life was a little bit crazy for me the last couple years as well, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still training hard and still doing my thing, so you'll see me back on that stage soon.
I can't wait. That's going to be awesome.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, and, yeah, we definitely wanna see when you're gonna get back on that stage and, of course, back at the Natural Olympia defending that title. It's
Yes.
gonna be good, it's gonna be good, I'm excited.
Yes, I'm very excited. I can't wait to meet the new girls, see, last year competitors. I'm ready to start this season. So I appreciate you bringing me on, and I appreciate just your wisdom and expertise and just everything that you do. So I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and we would love to see you back again soon. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.